The secret place. Jesus knew the importance of having to remove ourselves from the distractions of this world in order to focus our attention on God and to cultivate sort of like an environment or an atmosphere around us where we can come into peace and that rest before God and even encounter Him face to face. What does that actually look like? Well, for Jesus, it was actually withdrawing from the crowds of people, withdrawing from the motions of everyday life, and retreating into a solitary place in nature where he could spend time with God. And it was often at nighttime. And for Jesus, it's sort of that time of quiet, that time where the lure to go and spend time with people, which was his passion, wasn't going to be there because the people were sleeping. Or it was when he was sort of retreating during the daytime, he would retreat to a solitary place. And you've got one instance in the Gospels where the crowds actually saw Jesus going and they pursued him, they chased after him. And Jesus then had compassion on them, and that's when he fed the multitudes. But the whole practice of Jesus was to withdraw, to get to a place where he alone could be with God. And this is kind of like the secret place that he speaks about. It's that place of just you and God in the divine presence of God. And we get a glimpse into what this secret place was like in several different places in the Gospels. The first glimpse is in the desert temptation of Jesus. We're told he was in the desert for 40 days before he became hungry, and then Satan came to him to tempt him. And when Jesus survived the temptations, we're then told angels ministered to Jesus. We don't know if the angels ministered to him throughout the whole 40 days or if they came right at the end, but the mystery here is that when dwelling in the secret place, it unlocks something of that spiritual realm, of the heavenly realm, where angels minister to us with an open heaven. We see this again in John's Gospel in the account of the prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane. We see here that Jesus actually invites three of his closest disciples into that place. They fall asleep, but somehow we get this glimpse into the divine secret place where Jesus goes to spend time with his Father in heaven. And during that prayer, an angel appeared to Jesus and strengthened him. So again, we have Jesus retreating into a solitary place, into a secret place, where he's spending time with his Father in heaven, laboring through prayer, laboring through resting before him, and just sitting under the will of God. And in that place, we have angels ministering to Jesus. So this is the model for us, is to go into our secret place with God, to spend time with Father God face to face in the presence of God. Now, I'm not talking about physical face to face as in person to person. I'm talking about purposefully putting ourselves in that place where we're going to spend time and dwell with God intently from our heart's desire. And in the spirit realm, he sends his angels to us to minister to us. It's almost like they're attracted to a person who's going to do this, like magnets attract to each other. They just somehow know that people are going into the secret place, and they're like, okay, God is there, I want to be there, God has commanded me to minister to these people. I just want to minister, I just want to love on these people, I want to encourage them, I want to strengthen them. And this is because of the presence of God. Angels are attracted to the presence of God. So, as a massive encouragement for us, then, when we're in this secret place, our secret place with God, no matter how we feel, no matter what's going on in our minds and our hearts, in the spirit realm, the presence of God is manifest. The angels draw and they minister to us. So, the presence of God is so manifest when we intently put our hearts before him and say, I'm intently seeking you, God, in this secret place. I've withdrawn from distraction. I'm here for you. That opens something direct from our hearts into heaven and accesses the very presence of our Father in heaven. Another time we see this is on the Mount of Transfiguration. And Jesus here invites his disciples again into this secret dwelling, and then we see a sort of physical manifestation of the spiritual reality. So again, in this place, Jesus has drawn his disciples into a witness of his personal relationship with our Father in heaven. And in this place, we see that actually the heavenly reality manifests before their very eyes. So they see a bright light. It's all around them. It's like a cloud. And we see glimpses of this in the Old Testament scriptures when God's presence manifests physically around people. And we have people from the cloud of witnesses appearing before them. We've got Moses and Elijah appearing before Jesus and the disciples. And then we have this fascinating thing where Peter alludes to it in his letters in the New Testament, saying, "We heard a voice from the divine glory." So he acknowledges that Father God, God's voice, is the voice from the divine glory. So in this secret place, in this physical manifestation of a spiritual reality, we know that the divine glory has a voice and it is speaking to us. In that case, on the Mount of Transfiguration, it was manifested in a way that people could feel, they could see, and they could hear. But in the spiritual reality, it's still there, whether or not we actually perceive it as a physical manifestation. The divine glory's voice is speaking to us one to one in our secret place. And I believe that's partly why Jesus revealed that spiritual experiences to his disciples and why it's included in the Gospels for us, so that we might know that yes, Jesus is the Son of God and he is originated from the divine glory that existed before everything, but also to kind of give us encouragement that when we dwell alone with God and intently seek him in our solitary place with him, that's what's going on in the spirit realm, that the voice of the divine glory is speaking so tenderly to our hearts and speaking words of affirmation over us and encouraging our spirit to listen and hearken to the voice of Jesus, his Son. And it's almost like a loving parent speaking over their child, saying, "I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. I'm loving you," and just constantly speaking words of love and affirmation over its child that has come to spend time with the parent. And it's a welcoming ushering into the presence of God. And then it's the divine glory, or our Father in heaven, then ushers in his servants of light, which are the angels, and says, "Look, these are my people that I love so much." And then the angels say, "Yes, let's minister into their hearts. What can I take from you, Father, to minister into them? How can I encourage them?" And we get this dynamic of heaven that says, "Okay, these are my people. I love them so much. Let's empower them." And that is the secret of the secret place, that it is attuning into the ways of heaven. And we see that in Jesus' life, because we're told that Jesus came out of those places knowing the will of God, because he saw everything his Father was doing and heard everything his Father was doing, and then he did it. And that's the secret, is that the thing about the secret place is we attune our hearts into the heart of our Father in heaven, and we become more transformed through this process into the likeness of Jesus Christ in our thoughts, our attitudes, and our heart's desires, and we begin to manifest that in our lives from this practice of being in the secret place.